Welcome to this video section of OTP email automation. So we'll be automating email, the OTP that will be gotten from the email. So let me give you an example of what we'll be automating here. So we'll be automating the sign up that needs OTP to be sent to the email, and then you'll get the OTP will be extracted, and that is just the automation. So let's look at what we'll be automating here. This is a sample of it. So you can see we're using MailSlop. The email has been sent. Now it's waiting for the OTP. You can see it's been automated and moved to the next process. So this is exactly what we'll be automating. So this email will be gotten. Look at the email here. There's the email from the MailSlop, and then the OTP will be sent to the email. Then it will extract the OTP and then put it inside the boxes. And it has to be the correct OTP. Else, of course, you know that if it's not the correct OTP, it's going to fail and it will not move to the next section. So that is what we'll be automating today. How to carry out this process via automation. I will be using Cypress and MailSlop to actually do that. So let me close this up. So I actually don't want this video to be a long one. So I've created a Cypress folder here. So I'm going to go ahead and open it. And of course, I named it OTP Mail Automation. So let me just open it with Visual Studio Code. And we'll look at the files and the folders that I've created. So this is, I want to believe that this level, I'm not actually taking Cypress from scratch. I just want to look at how to automate OTP. So I want to believe that whosoever that is going through this video already understands how to create Cypress folder, at least has a little knowledge of Cypress. And if you don't, I have a video tutorial on my YouTube page on that. So perhaps you could look at that before coming to this section, right? So I already have a video that covers the beginners on Cypress and all that. So I want to believe that you're familiar with Cypress. And I'm using Cucumber BDD. So if you look at here now, you see that this is not just ordinary format for Cypress. I'm using integrated Cucumber BDD. That's actually what I use even for my office work. So I feel it's the right thing that I integrate it here too. So I'll start from the scratch. Explain these folders and the files that I have. So it's quite simple. So you just follow me, you're going to understand. So of course, when you get your Cypress, you're going to have the E2E. The examples, I've removed them. So I created this folder, BDD, and then the page of the model, the POM. And then we have this that came with it, the feature, the support, and then all of this. So we're going to go through all of these files. But then before we start, we'll go to command. We'll go to the terminal. Yeah, so if ordinarily you go to this terminal and then go to new terminal, but then on your keyboard you can just use command J to bring it up and to hide it. Yeah, so and for window users, I believe it's Control J. We use Control J for window users, then for Mac users, command J does the trick. So and then what we're going to do now is to install our node module. If you look at here, you see that there's no node module installed here. So we're going to say npm install. That is going to install our node module. So you can see that it's already installed, right? So when you look at here now, you see that we have our node module. So let's go through the files and the folders one after the other, as I said. So here, I created this file, the parent file, which I named BDD. Of course, you can name it anything you want. It's up to you, but then this is BDD. And then what we're looking at is sign up process. Let me go take you through so this is our MailSlop. We'll come to this. So this is the sign up process. And when you look at the sign up process, you have your name, your last name, the Lego business name, and the company type. So you select one of these company type, and then the phone number and the email address. So these are the two that actually requires OTP. So what happens is that the email number receives the OTP first. So once the OTP, you provide the right OTP for the email number, then a message is sent to the phone number, which is an OTP too. And then once you provide the correct OTP that has been sent to the phone number, then it will pass and then take you to the next page. Else, it's not going to pass, right? So this is just the simple process. So today, what we'll be looking at is how to automate the OTP that comes through this email. And then we're using Meslop to do that. Meslop, of course, have the API that helps us to do that. And for the purpose of this video, I created um, a trial account with Meslop. So they have free 50 monthly email boxes that you can use. So you could see that this free account, I've already used about 15 out of it. So yeah, that's it. Then for SMS, you have to pay some few amount, I think $3.9 or something like that, $3.90 or thereabout. So, but for email, which we are looking at today, it's free. So you can just go ahead and create your Meslop account. It's very, very simple, very simple and seamless. It doesn't. If you just go to meslop.com and sign up, then you'll be asked to provide your email. That's all. Once you provide your email, they send you a notification on how to. They send you an email on how to sign your sign up link. That's all. Very seamless. Then, so this is your usage, right? Okay, 16. Oh, sorry. So API. So far I've used 16. Which is still okay, of course, it's just created for the purpose of this video. So this is the API access. Take note of this, right? We're going to come back to this, and now you have your API key. So I'm actually exposing this API key because this account was created exclusively for this video and is a free account, right? So I don't have issue exposing this key. Ordinarily, you shouldn't expose this key, especially when you're working for a company, and of course you know that because with the API key, anyone that has access to this API key will be using the API keys, and it will be counting here for you, right? So this is API key. Now take note of this API key because that we're going to use it. And then let us look at the documentation. I want us to open it down. Just open it. We'll come back to the documentation so look at it here, how I got it. So they have their documentation. Meslop is quite simple to integrate, I believe so, and I've used them and it's really okay for me. So of course, this is not I wasn't paid to do this for them or anything. I'm just doing this because I've used them and I'm still using them, and so far it's okay, right? So this is the documentation, and we're going to look at the documentation and see how we can use the documentation to integrate the process on this video. So let's go back to our code. So here we have the sign up. So I've just created some things. Then I have the sign up folder, and inside the sign up folder I have the sign up.js. Of course, this is JavaScript. This is written on JavaScript. Then I also have another one that is, although not a video, of course for my company it's done on TypeScript, and but for the purpose of this video I'll be using JavaScript. So we'll open the JavaScript. Let me double click this so as to stay. So this is our JavaScript file. What is here? I'll just have to explain all of this. I imported this POM. Look at this, the sign up page. So this sign up page, so okay, we'll come to this page and I will explain all of this. So this is actually where we write our code. And for BDD, if you're familiar with BDD, you know that you have, of course, .future. It's not just ordinarily the way your Cypress works. You have to explain whatsoever your code is, so that for those who are not business inclined, that are in your company, for the non-tech, of course, for the maybe the business persons, when they look at your code, they should be able to read through. Okay, this is what this section of the code is actually trying to achieve, right? So that is where BDD becomes handy. It gives the the programmers, non-engineer, the ability to understand, read through the normal English, and say, okay, this code below, this is actually what you're trying to achieve. So if you look at here, so normally in Cucumber BDD, you go through the normal sequence of giving, when, and then. So this is just 3 steps, so there will be no need for and. So the first giving, I first land on the sign up page and fill the required field, which is this sign up page here. I land on this sign up page and fill the required field, right? So, and when you come to this, so what I did was I've just done all that because remember, this is not actually what brought us here. So what brought us here is this exclusively to automate this process, not to actually look at all of this. But let's just see. Let's see. I want to make this side by side, and let's see what happens here. Good. So I first land on the sign up page and fill all the required fields, right? So here we have the sign up page. Now, this sign up page, I'll come back to all of this sign up dots, all of this, right? So the next is the when. I wait for the email OTP to extract the OTP code into the various email inboxes. So that is what we've also imported here. When I wait for the blah blah blah, that's exactly what we have here. I then wait for the SMS OTP extract and extract the OTP code into their various SMS input box, which is also what we have here. But for today, we will not be looking at this. Perhaps we might look at this in another video. And as I said, if you're going to do this, then you have to pay Meslop. It's not going to be free. So I don't know if that is going to work out, but maybe I could just do the video for those who want to pay to actually do that. But for the sake of this video, we're going to stop here for today's video, right? So we're going to be looking at just this section. Now, so that is this. I think I've explained these two files here. So the next is sign up. The sign up. Oh, okay. So I have the sign up here. So we'll still be looking at this even as we look at that. Now, the sign up, what I did here was to all your site.get, site.contain, blah, 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 it in this folder. Oh, sorry, this file, this folder POM, and this file. So what I did is, the reason is because this file here, it can be reused. So if for any reason I want to use this box, I want to use this section again, I don't need to go and recreate it, right? So in programming, there's what we call do not repeat yourself. You get, so I don't need to recreate it. This is actually where Cucumber BDD and using page object model becomes very, very handy, because with this now, all I just need to do is to call this. I've already created, drop it here. So once I call this first name, it's going to run this section for me. It's going to run this for me. And so this is, if you look at this, let's inspect and see. So we'll inspect this. Look at first name. When you inspect your first name, you're going to see that we have data side. We have data side, yeah. So of course, this is my company website that I am using, and to this tutorial. So please, I will appeal that you don't come here to actually make an attempt to use this website, because that would not be right. So I have so many persons who have reached out to me to do this video, so I have to appeal to my management to allow me to do this. So please, this website is not for you to use for tutorial. Please, it's an appeal, right? So I actually requested that this data site be dropped here. So that is it. And if it's not on your case, you can look at this placeholder. This placeholder is unique. So you see that it's first name, but for here I already have data site. So I picked the data site here. Now for the last name and so on, so forth, going on. So that's what we have here. All this site.get, I dropped them on this page. So what I now did was, now the page is being exported, right? Export the for sign up page. Of course, the sign up page that I name it. You can see sign up page. So what I now did was, I have to come here and let me now increase this, and then increase this. So what I did was, come in here, I have to import this sign up page. So you can see I imported it from the page where it is. So let's just do it. So import from. So how many folders down? We have the first folder slash. Now it takes us to the sign up, but we're not going to the sign up, we're going to the POM. So we put another dot again, slash. Now it takes us to the next folder, which is the BDD parents folders. Now we remember we have two parents folders here. So we have two parents folders, which is BDD and the POM. So now it takes us to these two parents folder. So I'm going to POM. So I'll click on POM and next, right? Now I now have the sign up page. So of course, now I've imported the sign up page. And then this, if you look at our package.json, so let's look at our package.json. Remember that I did npm install, right? So if you look at this, maybe I will find a way to upload this in one of my gits, make it open so that you could have this code. So I could do that later. So you could have this code, and then all you just need to do is npm install. So if you look at this, our dev dependencies, we have this, we have Cypress, right? And then we have this Bitball Cypress. So initially it was Cypress Cucumber processor, but Bitball took over this, and so that is where you have this at Bitball / Cypress Cucumber processor. And then we have this Meslop client. I'm going to show us on the documentation of Meslop. We're going to see how to install this. So now we have this Cucumber processor because I'm using Cucumber, and then we have to import it here. So it's very straightforward. All you don't need to do is to import given, when, then, just as we see here. Just as we see here. Of course, that's it. So there's a process given, when, and then. So if you have more things to add, you could put and. You could put and, sorry. And then whatever you want to put, and even another and can still go here, and whatever you want to put, more and can go on, right? So when you are finally done, then the last step takes the then. Good. So that's how feature file works. Okay, so let's go back to our sign up page. So you bring this down, and then what I did here was initialize here. Remember we imported the sign up, right? So what I did here was to instantiate the sign up so that at the end of the day, whatsoever we created here when we call this sign up, is going to reference this page. It's going to reference this page. So that is just the process. We have to instantiate it. So I have to give this variable to equal this, which is everything that, remember that I've exported this file here, right? So once I call this now, everything on this page is going to be referenced and called accordingly, right? So that is this line of code. And then for a phone number, I have to assign this variable again to our .env. You see, we have a cypress.env, then phone number. So let's go to our cypress.env. I told you that I'm going to explain all of these files and folders, and that's exactly what I'm doing right now. So we have the .env. When you click the .env, you see that, thank you. I told you that let us take note of this meslop key, meslop, that we're going to reference it later. So you see, you have API key, very, very important, the API key, right? So you copy this API key, and then your .env, I prefer to drop mine in my JSON file, so I could call it, of course, for security reasons and all that, so that when you are eventually pushing your code, this .env, this your JSON file is not going to be moved. If you look at the ignore, if you look at the git ignore, you see that the cypress.env.json was removed, of course, alongside your node modules, of course, because the node module is quite heavy, so you don't have to remove it. You don't have to upload it. Okay, so this is our API key. And these are phone number. You can see here that I dropped the dummy phone number 1122334. Of course, a phone number doesn't exist. But then for the Meslop, Meslop has a phone number. Once you pay, they give you a phone number that you can use for your automation. I hope that is clear. So that is actually for this. So I drop this phone number, and then I'm calling it here. I'm calling it here because it's required in the sign up process. When you look at the sign up process, there's a place where you have to put your phone number. So I don't need to actually drop my phone number, expose my phone number here, right? Normally, what you should have done is on the normal grant, you say, okay, you type the phone number, but it actually doesn't make sense, right? And yeah, it doesn't make sense. So for an advanced Cypress automation guy, you should be able to do the right thing at the right time, right? So what I did was to create a variable here that I call phone number, and then now for you to call for you to get your whatever that is in your cypress.env, this is the process. You have to say cypress.env, and then you can now call that name that you, of course, you can name it anything, right? It mustn't be this. This is what I just chose to name it. So I named this phone underscore number, right? So you can see that I called it here. So what now happens is that whenever I reference this phone number, it's going to call this, and this is going to just, this number is going to show up. So what I did here was type. So I said type, right? Then I referenced the phone number. You can see that on clicking this is being highlighted. Good. So that is this line. And then for this line, we have the sign up, email, um, the sign up URL. I'm sorry. So this is the URL. Then we have the parent URL embedded somewhere, and then this is just the child, the slash blah 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 and all that. So that is what you have here. Then for this, I think I've explained this earlier. Then so of course to visit the URL, all I did here was site.visit the URL user.sign up. So this is the sign up that this, you can see that I initial this variable here, I called it user, and then inside that I have the sign up. So user.sign up, right? And it's going to give me the URL. So all this you're going to learn. I hope that you understand how Cucumber works. But if you don't, I think from my explanation, you should be able to have a glimpse of how it works. And then this is even on your normal Cypress, of course, this is also applicable. So I am not actually a fan of writing your Cypress code and making everything so exposed. You know, there's some persons that when you see their Cypress files, you just see everything so exposed. It doesn't really make sense to me. So all you just need to do is to get your files somewhere else, and then you call them. You know, so you can see how neat this page is, this file is. So all of this, so this sign up now is actually here. All the sign.get, site.contain, site.that, all of them are already here. So making this page so clean and unique and neat, you know. So here we have to call this sign up, which is what I instantiated here, initialized here, and then you now get to the name, the exact name you want. Here I want to get to the first name first, and then the next, which is this first name. You have the last name, the business name, and all that. So that's exactly what we have here. So I think I've explained virtually all the files, if I'm not mistaken. So let's look at which other file again. I think we have the command, the support here. Okay, there's nothing in a command file, but we already have the file here already. So in a command is where we're going to write our Meslop code that we actually do the trick. And then is there any other one that I haven't looked at? No, there's nothing here. I think we've looked at this. So I think cypress.config, have we looked at it? Okay. Yeah, so this one, yeah, so this, your cypress.config.js. Okay, so this, and what you do is just to copy all of this and put in your config. So this is just the configuration that helps your Cypress to work. And here you're going to have your base URL, which I'm going to add later here, the base URL. So when you look at our code, you see this URL is actually coming from this base URL here, from this Cypress, from this cypress.config.js, right? So it's base URL. So I'm going to put that later. And here you have the define config require Cypress, then the Bedball, Cypress Cucumber, all of these are just for the Cypress Cucumber. So you just copy this and drop, and then all of these too. So this actually is your configuration for the Cypress Cucumber, right? And I think that's all the files for now. We've gone through everything we needed to go through. Okay, so now we can start our code. So let's go look at Meslop documentation that will going to help us. So this is the documentation, and we're looking at Cypress, right? So we're going to click on Cypress. Remember how to get to this documentation. You come here and you click documentation, right? So haven't clicked Cypress. We're using JavaScript, right? So you click on JavaScript, and here we're going to go through the documentation. So to install, you have to use your npm. If you're using npm, you have to use this. Then if you're using yarn, then you use this, right? So I had already done this process. So if you are just starting with a fresh folder, then you have to copy this. If you're using npm, you copy this and put on your terminal and hit enter. If you're using yarn, you copy this, right? So I've already done that. That is why you have this. That's why you have this, right? Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at here is, now we're going to import this. So yes, they're giving us two options here. We're going to use either this right? Or this. So this is actually the one I prefer using. So just copy it and bring it to a command. Let's bring it to a command. Let me open my command, close this. So close this and then open a command. And then we'll drop this. So that's the first thing we'll be bringing here. Now, when you look at again, let's go back to documentation again. So they say that the next is your API key, right? Remember, we have that API key here. So this is where we're going to use it. So we'll bring this. I'm going to use this because Meslop equal new Meslop and the API key. So I'll copy this. Sorry, I'll just copy and then bring it up here. So remember that we already have our API key on our cypress.env. So all I'm just going to do now is to call it cypress.env. Then I'll get I name it MSP underscore API underscore key. So that's what I named it. So that is. Then the next is to create your inbox, of course. So the process of the automation is that the inbox has to be created. And then after the inbox is created, you have to wait for some time to actually get the OTP, right? So you just wait for some time. Let the inbox arrive, let the email arrive, sorry, and then you can now extract the OTP. Those are the two processes. Quite a very simple process in this command. So where we'll have a lot of maybe little explanation is when we now try to call all of this in the command at the sign up page. So we're going to go through the documentation again and see what we have on the create inbox. So we're going to look for their create inbox. Of course, they have create inbox. Create inbox. So this is what I was talking about, the wait for latest email, right? But the first, what we'll be looking for, let's just find it. What we'll be looking for first is I don't know why that's not working. I tried looking for control find, but it's not working. So we'll look for, yeah, create inbox. So we're going to say, so here, we're using command, right? So we're putting it in a command.js. So what we need to do first is to say cypress.command .add. That is the process, right? When you are adding anything on the command. So the name is create inbox. And then we're going to have an arrow function to that. So all our code is going to be on this arrow function. And then we are returning, yeah, say return. So what are we actually returning? What we are returning is mislop.createInbox. That's all. It's just as simple as that. That's all we are returning. mislop.createInbox. So look at it here. That's all we are returning. There's nothing else we are returning here. So we return mislop.createInbox. Simple. We're done with this line of this section of createInbox, right? So the next is now to wait. So we carry out the same process. Let me just copy this. So what I did to duplicate this is shift. What did I just do? I duplicated it twice. Sorry. Shift option, then arrow key down. That duplicated it. So shift option, arrow key down for Mac users. Then for Windows, I believe it's shift control, arrow key down. I'll check for Windows, please. No, it shouldn't be control. I'll check for Windows users. So for Mac is shift command, arrow key down. Yeah. So now this will now go for wait for latest email. We saw it somewhere up. Wait for latest. Yeah, we'll copy this. I want to wait for the latest email. So remove this, right? And then, of course, we have to remove before then. So wait. So let's actually now when you look at the waiting, we'll go back to the documentation because everything in documentation what we're actually replicating here, right? So, but I want to create a variable for timeout. Sorry. Oh, the E should be here. So I want to give it 2 minutes, right, to wait for the email. So 2 minutes is actually 120 milliseconds. Yeah. So which is this 2 minutes. Remember that is in milliseconds. So which is 120 milliseconds. And then we'll now return this. So let's look at the documentation and now see what we're going to put in the time wait for latest email. Now, so they say wait for latest email. All you have to return is your inbox ID, your timeout, and unread only, which is true. So these are the things we're just going to return. So here we're going to say inbox ID, right? Inbox ID, we'll return this, and then the next is timeout. So we're going to have the timeout here, and the last is we have the unread, which is the true. So that's just the sequence. Yeah. So we are done. So this timeout now is going to reference this timeout here, which is going to wait for 2 minutes, right? So you're going to start from the very first milliseconds all through to 2 minutes. And once you wait for 2 minutes, the email didn't come, then it will fail. So I actually gave it this long time because, of course, you know that sometimes email takes some time to arrive. So 2 minutes is not bad for me. So that's it. Okay, so now that we are done with the command.js, we'll now go to our sign up and integrate all of this section into our sign up page. Yeah, so the first thing I want us to do here is to create a variable called the inbox ID. So the inbox ID is actually the variable that's going to hold the inbox, the OTP, and then extract the OTP for us. We're going to create a variable called the inbox ID, and then also create a variable called the email. The variable on the email is going to hold the email and actually get all the information we need from the email. So I'm going to select inbox ID. Now it's going to be nothing because we want to hold it and then use it later, right? So we're going to have email address. Good. Now the next here is we're going to look at the email. Remember that the email is going to come. What we want to do in order for us to have a successful email process, I would like us to get the email even before this whole process starts, right? So the email is being gotten and is held up, waiting for activities. So we're going to use our before hook to actually achieve that. So, of course, if you understand Cypress very well, you know that in Cypress we have the before hook and the before each hook. So we're going to use the before hook to get our email. And so I'm going to be using my arrow function, sorry. And everything I need now is going to be on this function. So now I'm going to call this section create inbox, right? That is what I want. So on the before hook, the inbox should be created and then wait for us to use it for whatever we want to use it for later. So we're going to say sci.create inbox. That is actually how you use any section from your from command.js, of course, in Cypress. Once you want to use the command, you use this name that you have initialized there, right? Whatever name you put here is what you're going to call here, site.this. So normally we have the site.get, site.visit, site.contain, another, but then you can have your own custom command, right? Just as we've got here. This is a constant command. And then now, because you've created the functionality here, so you can now come here and say side dot that name, that custom name, right? So here is side dot create inbox. And then we're going to now say in Cypress, we use the dot then in Cypress. Now, how does this dot then works? What we want to achieve is we want to create inbox, right? Now, after creating the inbox, what then do we want to do next? That is where this dot then comes in. So what should come in after the create inbox, right? So I'm going to also have a function here. In that function, of course, I'm also using my arrow key. So here I want say an inbox. Yes, then here I will now call the inbox ID is equal inbox.id, and exactly the same thing for the email. The email address equal inbox.email address. So that should be equal here. So now we're going to use, later on, we're now going to use all of these, and you see how it works. So we're going to come down here. Here we said, I wait for the email OTP and extract the OTP code into the various email input box. Now, over here, the inbox has been created, right? So now we're going to now write a function that we do the waiting and extraction, right? So remember that we've created in our command the process of waiting here. So we're going to say, pick this again and say, you already know what to do, side dot this, right? And then we're looking at what is going to happen here when we wait. It's going to reference this inbox ID. So we'll put our inbox ID here. Now, dot. And when we get our OTP, what do we want? Of course, every other thing we want come in here, right? We're going to have our arrow function again. Yeah. So here, then we're going to have email here because of course we are going to get everything we need from the email, right? So let's look at the email and see the structure of the email. Let's look at our inbox. Yeah, this is the email. So let's look at the structure of the email. So you see we have your verification code, then we have the verification code, right? The verification code column, then we have the verification code. So what we're going to do here is to use a regular expression to extract this OTP, right? This is the inbox, you get. So we're going to use a regular expression to extract this OTP. For regular expression, I actually don't have any video on regular expression now, but you can Google it out, or yes, of course, you can Google it out. Perhaps later I could make a comprehensive video on regular expression, but of course, the regular expression I'm going to be working on here is quite simple and easy to understand. So that's the first thing. So for us to do that, I want to create a variable here, and I'll call that variable. I'll call it. Of course, you can name it anything. I just want to name mine OTP pattern, right? So for regular expression, this is just the process. Just follow me on a regular expression. So we're going to pick this. We're going to pick this. And then drop it here. Good. And then I need it to look out for digits for me. So like I said, you could just Google it out, your regular expression. So this is the process. So it's going to look out for digits for me, not letters, right? So whatsoever digit it finds after this, right, is what is going to pick out for me. You get. So now the next thing is I want you to look for a match of anything of this inside this inbox, the email inbox. So you should just follow me. Now I want to call this match, or okay, matches. So it should look for anything that matches any of this inside the email. It should look for anything that matches this. And invariably, at this stage now, it will not start looking for this. You understand? Look at the regular expression. The regular expression, we've already said, look for this, right? And then something that has a digit. Now, having gotten that, we're now creating a variable. Look for whatsoever that matches this, which is, remember that whatsoever you have here, this variable is holding it. So look for what is matching this variable. This variable now, when we talk about this variable, talk about whatsoever that is matching this, right? So we have to look for that. Now we'll say email.body, because we are looking for that match inside the email body, this email body, right? So we'll now say email.body.match. In JavaScript, we have what we call the match function. Dot match. Then what are we looking for? This, right? So now that we've gotten a match of this OTP pattern, right? What do we now want to do? We want to trim any space because we don't want to take chances, right? So I'll now say at this stage, give me the OTP. I could just name me the OTP code. So this is when I now need the OTP code. So you see the process that I'm going through. So I'll now say matches. Remember I called this variable matches. And oh sorry, this is an array I wanted to put here. Dot trim. Now let me explain here. So the first array, when it picks this pattern, is the zeroth array. Of course, we know that arrays are zero index, right? So the first array is the zero index, is the zero, and that array is going to hold all the possible numbers that's going to pick on the pattern. While the second array, which is the first, number one, right? The first array is zero, the second is one. So the second array, which is number one, is now going to be the main OTP that I'm looking at. So in your own, it might not actually be one that is here. It could be the third array, which is the second here, or whichever. So you could just go through it or put the numbers here to see the one that actually picks the OTP for you. So, but for this, it's actually this the first, the number one, which is the second array, right? So that is actually it for here. At this stage now, we're not going to use this OTP code. This OTP code now is what will now come in here. Inside the box, of course. We can't get to the next stage. When we're automating, you see from here now, we'll go to the next stage and then the OTP will enter inside the bus, right? And all that. So that's this for this section. So the next section and the last one is to split the OTP that we're going to get. We're going to split it and then put them into the various codes. Remember that the code, let me just see if we could. Let's just put any name here. So choose any company, phone number 23445, and we could just put any name. Oh, and then so I just wanted to see the box, right? Okay. Um, I'm just trying to. So it's still not accepting this Gmail. So okay, so we'll just leave it at the moment. While we're automating, we're going to go through this process and you see the bus. So the bus is actually a 1-1, and that's what I just wanted to show you. So what we now need to do is to split the OTP that we'll be getting and make it to go into the box because we don't, the OTP, look at the OTP that we have here from the email. It's a collection here, right? And it's not a single box where you just drop everything you get here. So the boxes are in single boxes. So we have to split this OTP here and put them one, separately. So that's the next stage we want to. So I will just put a comment here and say split OTP into in the individual digits. While here, put a comment and say what we did here was to extract OTP from email, right? So what did we, okay, we using regular. Let me put it here so that, yeah. So extract OTP from email using regular expression, which is this process. Now we're going to, this is the next step. Now split OTP into individual digits and type each into its corresponding input field. So we're going to get our variable here. I want to call this variable OTP digit. OTP digit. So you can actually name it anything you want, right? Equal OTP code, this OTP code. So the first thing is dot split. In JavaScript, we have what we call split dot split, the split function. So that's exactly what we want to do here. And then this removes all the spaces, right? That should have come in. Are you getting it? So that's just it. Then the next is what we now want to do is this OTP digit. We want to loop through it and then type the digit. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use for each to actually loop through that. So I'm going to say OTP digit. This should have been, sorry, because I'm using camera case. So I'm going to say OTP, what's going on? I thought I copied this. OTP digit dot for each. So I'll be, I need a digit and index. Why am I having this error now? Oh, sorry. This function should be, this should actually be inside this. Yeah. Then exactly. Okay. So our code is now going to be inside here. So what I want now, I'll loop through this digit and then we'll get to the email OTP. Remember in our sign up page, we'll have our email OTP. Yeah. So here in our email OTP, this is actually where you put the email OTP. Now, inside the email OTP box, remember I told you initially it's in box, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, how many boxes? How many email do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, well, we have 6 boxes here. We have 6 boxes here. And each of those boxes have DataSite verify email. So what I did here was, okay, since we have all of them share exactly the same DataSite and with index, yeah, so they have DataSite verify email. So all I now need to do is to add this to actually call for their index, right? So we'll now have to go through the index 0, verify. The first box is going to be verify email /0. Second one is going to be /1. Third one is going to be /2. Remember, because the arrays are 0 index, right? So that's what I just did here. That's the logic you're saying here, right? So I call this email OTP because I want it to I want now the OTP to go into that. So I'm going to say sign up. Remember, I need to call that page, this sign up page, which I've instantiated here. So I have initialized it, and now I want to call it the sign up page here. Dot what am I looking for? Email OTP. So I'll come here and say dot email OTP. And what am I actually wanting to do? Then I'll get that index. Look at this index here, right? So because I want it to work with the index, what do I want to do? Dot type. And what am I typing? I need it to type the digits. Just simple. That's all. It's just that simple. And then after that is done, what do I want next? What do I want next? There is a submit button. Submit email. I think we have submit email. Yeah, submit email, submit email. So I will just come here. Yeah, it's not going to be on this. So once that is done, sign up page dot submit email. And what do I want to do on that submit email? I want it to be a click. Just click it. And that's it. So let's see what we have done if it's okay. So here I will clear here. And then let's look at our JSON package.json. There's something I forgot to, right, on our script, right? I'm using Sci. So this is Cypress Open. You can just put anything here. You can say, you can put anything, any whatsoever you put here is what will run the Cypress Open, right? So because I'm just putting Sci, I just like something simple, right? So I'm going to say npm run Sci. That's all. So this Sci is actually what I put here. Remember, whatever you put here is what you're going to add here. So let's run our page and see what happens. I hope we're not going to get any error. I don't think so. Okay. Okay, we got an error. So let's look at what the error is saying. So it's talking about this inbox ID. It's talking about the inbox ID. So let's look at it and see what the issue is with the inbox ID. So when you look at here, it say inbox ID is not defined, and it's taking us to command.js. We did not define the inbox ID. So let us check on command and see. Let me close this up. Inbox ID. Inbox. Oh, yeah, you can see that we did not define it here. Sorry, my bad. Okay, so now it should run. Okay, so let's run it again. Hope this time is going to work fine. Good. Now it's waiting for the inbox. It's waiting for the inbox, and once you get the OTP, it's going to enter it quietly. Okay, it failed again. It failed again. So let's see why it failed. So let's expand to see why the error is coming. It said OTP code. OTP code is not defined. Ah, wow. Sorry, my bad. Again. So yeah, actually when you're writing code, sometimes you do forget all these small things. You can see here that I did not actually define this variable OTP code. So it's not defined. You can see here that here it was defined as use a const. So here I should just equally ah man. Yeah, so it's not defined. Now it's not a variable, right? So I've put this OTP, this now is a variable, right? So that's actually what is complaining, that OTP code is not defined. Good. So you should be able, that's one of the things that you learn in programming, how to actually debug your code and read error, understand the error that is being given to you. and understand what is happening. So when you look at this now, when seeing this, of course, it's obvious that I did not define this OTP code. So that's the reason for the error. So now everything should be fine. And now it's waiting for the OTP. And once the OTP arrives, it's going to put it and then click submit. Wow, you could see that it took a while to get the OTP. That is why you see that I put in 2 minutes there. So you see that our test has just passed. You see it has passed, right? And wow, bravo. If you if you followed me to this step, to this process, and to this stage, bravo, we've done a great work here. So you could see the OTP that it got, right? And it actually had to type every one of them, um, step by step because of the process that we followed, right? So that is it on how to automate your email OTP. I want to believe that this helps. I hope it helps. And of course, this is not really common, right? This process is not common. So I'm putting it out there because a lot of persons reached out that say I should just show them how this is done. And this is just it. So I will try to see if it's going to be feasible for me to automate this process also. Then if it is, I will do it and upload the link. So just follow me. If you have not actually followed me, just please follow me and we'll, let's walk along. Thank you very much. All the best.